my cheating wife confessed. I'll be gaining experience with other men for a few years, and you have to follow my rules. I thought she was joking, but she was serious. So I said, then I'll also be comparing you with other women. Imagine this. The woman you've loved for over 2 decades, the mother of your children, looks you dead in the eye and casually announces she's going to start dating other men, for fun. What would you do? Because for Travis, that moment wasn't just a betrayal. It was the start of an unbelievable journey that would shatter his world, only to rebuild it into something he never thought possible. Travis Wesley was having the absolute worst day of his life. I mean, it's not every day your beautiful, 47-year-old wife, who you've been with since she was 23, drops a bomb like, "Tonight I'm going out with other men." He just sat there, frozen behind the kitchen table, his hand tight around a glass of monkey shoulder whiskey. 10 minutes. He just stared, unseeing, unhearing, lost in an agony so profound, not even a million pain relievers could touch it. He'd heard whispered stories, urban legends almost, about wives doing this, but he never, ever thought it could be his life. How could someone be so unbelievably indifferent? So selfish in their desires? The disbelief was a physical blow. Funnily enough, it had been a pretty good Monday at work. Travis had even left the office a few minutes after 5, whistling a cheerful tune, feeling upbeat. That is, until he walked through his front door. He found Lauren sitting at the kitchen table, wine glass in hand, with his favorite whiskey, bottle and glass, waiting for him. A strange chill ran down his spine. He dropped his briefcase, automatically poured himself a drink, and sat down. "What's the secret, Lauren?" he asked, trying to sound light, but a knot was already forming in his stomach. Her sly smile, that glint in her eyes, it made him deeply uneasy. He managed a nervous grimace. "Do you think I've been a good wife and mother all these years?" she asked, her voice eerily calm. Travis frowned. He knew she was playing some kind of game. She could practically see the gears turning in his head. "Yes, I think so," he replied carefully, trying to keep his composure. "What are you getting at?" he pressed. There was a pause. He thought about his own dedication. "Do you think I should be rewarded for being a good husband and father?" he countered. "What kind of question is that, Travis?" Lauren snapped back, a flash of irritation. Then she dropped it. Casual, as if discussing the weather. "Today, I want to go on a date with another man." Travis was so glad he was already sitting. His stomach churned with bile. His mind went blank, wiped clean. "A date? With another man?" he choked out, barely able to form the words. Lauren looked at him like he was a particularly dim child and nodded slowly. "Yes. With another man, Trav. I haven't been on a date with anyone else since we became exclusive, 24 years ago. I've been a good wife, a good mother. I deserve a night with another man. A chance to try someone new. Not for love, just pleasure. I'm 47. I can't stay beautiful forever. I want to experience more men while I'm still desirable, while I can still have them with a snap of my fingers." Travis's jaw literally dropped. He'd heard her. He understood her. But she couldn't be serious. Could she? She just nodded, as if reading his very thought. "Damn," he muttered. Lauren stood, headed upstairs to change. A few minutes later, she descended, looking absolutely stunning. A little black dress barely there, clinging to every curve. Her long blonde hair in a high ponytail, minimal makeup. She was a vision, and she knew it. In that moment, she believed she still owned him, body and soul. "I won't let this happen, Lauren," Travis finally managed, pushing himself up from the table. His voice trembled. "I don't know what warped fantasy you're living, but you will not do this and remain my wife." Her bright smile melted into an ugly, cruel grin. "You are not going to ruin this for me, Trav. You can threaten all you want, but you won't divorce me over this. Where would you find another woman like me? Nowhere, and you know it. The kids would hate you for breaking up our family. Just suck it up. Let me have my fun for a few years. Then it'll be just you and me again. We'll grow old. You love me. You don't want to be alone while I have my pick of men. A car horn blared outside. Lauren grabbed her clutch, walked to Travis, and leaned in to kiss him goodbye. He recoiled as if shocked, pulling away. Her face, briefly surprised and hurt, hardened into anger. I'll be back home. Don't know when. She snapped, turning and walking out. He watched in absolute horror as she left. 23 years, gone? Just like that? She didn't even glance back. You know, it's a sad truth that pretty people just have it easier. Lauren was the ultimate example. From the moment her chest developed at 13, she knew a smile and a bat of her eyelashes could get her anything. If a boy played hard to get, a little subtle chest puff, and he was putty in her hands. Travis, like so many others, fell for her almost instantly. His family moved to town right before 8th grade, and he met Lauren on day 1. Captivated. He was a popular athlete, but she was Lauren. Eventually, he found the courage to ask her out in high school. They dated for a while. But then, junior year, she dumped him for Landon Estes Jr., the football team's star quarterback. Travis was a skinny 5 feet 4 inches and 110 pounds then. Estes was a giant. It stung, of course, but Travis accepted it. He knew she was out of his league, looks-wise. Hell, most guys were. She ran with the popular crowd, and he was just another face in the hallway. They rarely spoke, and when they did, she acted like he was a complete stranger. It hurt at first, but he learned to live with it. By senior year, Travis had shot up to 6 foot and gained 40 pounds of muscle. He was handsome, athletic, but still not Lauren. Few were. He went to prom with a lovely, but not goddess-level girlfriend. Lauren, of course, was prom queen, with her prom king. She was untouchable, or so everyone thought. Secretly, she was already quite adept at manipulating situations for any guy lucky enough to date her. After high school, Travis went to Michigan State for accounting. He dated, but nothing serious. Lauren went to Central Michigan, majoring in marketing. She dated, and slept with, many men, even a professor when she needed to bump a B to an A. Years of being desired had made her a master of the game. And then, by sheer coincidence, they both ended up working in Grand Rapids after college. About a year after college, Travis and his colleagues were unwinding at a popular bar on a Friday night when she walked in. Lauren. With 2 other women. Every head in the place snapped towards her. Short green dress, plunging neckline. She barely noticed, it was just expected. Who is that goddess? Steve White croaked, utterly mesmerized. Before he even thought about it, Travis blurted out, That gentleman is Lauren the goddess, and my 8th grade girlfriend. The table went silent. All eyes swung to Travis, jaws hanging open. You knew her? Someone asked, incredulous. Travis winced. He hated being the center of attention. Yeah, I did. Until I turned 14 and she decided I was invisible for 4 years of high school. He muttered. So, any good stories about getting handsy with her? One of the guys joked, and the whole table erupted in laughter. That caught Lauren's eye. She looked over, trying to place him. She sat with her friends, facing their table. Dude, aren't you going to say hi? Steve prodded, practically drooling. Jesus, Steve, you're pathetic. Casey chimed in. She pretended not to know me for 4 years. Why would she remember me now? Travis sighed. Most of his colleagues nodded in agreement. Lauren kept staring, then snapped her fingers, pointing right at him. Her friend hissed. Lauren, don't point in a restaurant, you'll get hurt. But Lauren ignored her. Be right back, she announced, practically leaping from her chair. I need to say hello to an old friend. Travis rolled his eyes at his friends before forcing a fake smile. Lauren, good to see you, he said, almost no emotion in his voice, rising to his feet. She stepped into his personal space, hands on his shoulders, and kissed him. Softly. On the lips? His colleagues were dumbstruck. Travis was stunned. Lauren, seeing his shock, smirked. She was clearly enjoying this game. Come to our table. I'll introduce you to the girls. She purred, taking his hand and pulling him along. He spent most of the evening with her and her friends. Before he left, she took his phone, entered her number, and took his. Lauren was intrigued. Travis's indifference was a novel experience for her. He was polite, yes, but he spent as much time talking to her friends as he did to her. She kissed him several times, he never kissed back. Monday morning, his colleagues grilled him. He told them he left after an hour. She's stunning, sure, but she's way out of my league. I don't need that kind of drama, he grumbled. Little did he know, a different kind of drama was waiting for him 2 days later in his workplace parking lot. He grumbled when he saw her leaning against his car. Still, he had to admit, in that dress 1 size too small, she looked absolutely incredible. Why didn't you call, Trav? She purred as he approached. Travis tried desperately not to let his eyes widen as he devoured her with his gaze. That low-cut top unbuttoned to her cleavage, the hem barely covering anything. Damn, he muttered under his breath. She leaned in, wrapped her arms around his neck, and pressed her lips to his. He was defenseless as her tongue invaded his mouth. He dropped his briefcase, and the kiss went on and on. Several stunned colleagues stopped in their tracks, quickly peeled out of the parking lot. They ended up at a restaurant far from the city center. Lauren spent most of lunch tugging at the bottom of her dress, a struggle both Travis and their young waitress seemed to enjoy immensely. Travis was still wary, but he was just a man. A scantily clad goddess turning on her full charm? He was toast. He just hoped he'd perform well that night. Oh my God! Travis whispered to himself, seeing Lauren without clothes for the very first time. She was the goddess he'd always imagined. If this was his only shot, he swore he wouldn't miss. Lust overwhelmed everything. Later sated, they lay face to face, gazing into each other's eyes. Lauren smiled seductively. Apparently, I screwed up big time a few years ago, she whispered. You've got amazing abilities. Who would have thought? If only I'd known, we've lost years. Lauren, in her own way, understood what was right in front of her. Travis might not be her equal in pure looks, but he was handsome, fit, and clearly had a great career ahead. And, she inwardly conceded, he was very good in bed. Despite his lingering doubts about her, primarily her ego, their relationship blossomed. Her beauty was undeniable, but slowly, Travis found himself falling in love with who Lauren was beneath it all. He bought an engagement ring. But before proposing, they had the talk about fidelity. She'd impressed him, truly, but Travis needed absolute clarity. No unspoken words. Look, I don't know much about your past, and I'm not asking for names or numbers. Travis began, serious. What happened, happened. Same for me. But I need to know about the future. From this moment on, if we do this, I need us to be completely exclusive. No ifs, no ands, no buts. If you can't commit to that, I need to know right now. He gently placed a small black box on the table between them. Lauren stared into his eyes, then at the box. Her answer was firm. I will never cheat on my husband. Never. Travis etched those words into his memory. Now Lauren, apparently, didn't consider her new announcement as cheating because she'd warned him. But Travis knew better. She hoped he'd see it that way, because if he didn't, it meant he didn't accept her terms. For 23 years, as far as Travis knew, she had been faithful. She'd turned down countless opportunities. She was a 10, maybe even a 12, he thought, while he considered himself a 6 on a good day. That huge gap, he knew, left plenty of room for others to try and make a statement. He should have been grateful for those 23 years of fidelity. But he wasn't. When he said I love you, he meant forever, not just a measly 23 years. Not a week went by without Lauren getting propositioned, sometimes by women too. She wasn't just beautiful, she was a goddess. When God made my wife, he was having an exceptional day, Travis used to say. At first, Lauren would tell him every time she was hit on, trying to be transparent. But after a few years, he told her he trusted her enough not to need every detail, unless the pest didn't take no for an answer. Then he'd step in. Travis, meanwhile, was rarely approached. His wedding ring was like a shield. He'd talk about his amazing wife and kids within minutes of meeting any woman, effectively killing any potential flirtation before it started. He didn't even realize he was doing it. Lauren, of course, had no idea her husband was actively shutting down interest. Their almost fairy-tale marriage lasted 22 years. Then Rose Esposito waltzed into their Garden of Eden, or rather, into Lauren's public relations firm. Rose was a striking, dark-haired beauty, big brown eyes, ample chest, a magnet for men. In any other office, she'd be the alpha. But at Super Solutions, she was merely Lauren's devoted assistant. Rose, 42 and married for 15 years, openly hated monogamy. She had affairs some her husband knew about, more he didn't. She'd regale Lauren with tales of her fantastic escapades. So, you haven't tried anyone since you got married? Rose challenged one coffee break. You're such a rock, but I don't believe you don't want to. Lauren replied, Well, I'm curious, but I would never cheat on Travis. Lately, Lauren had noticed something unsettling, fewer eyes on her at bars, more on younger women. Her allure was waning, or so she feared. She was starting to doubt her own powers. What if your hubby let you try? Rose pressed. Then what? Lauren's expression shifted. This was a scenario she'd never considered. Her mind raced. I guess if I had permission, it would be totally different, she admitted, a mischievous grin spreading across her face. Ever thought about asking? Rose asked. You know, everything worth having is worth asking for. Lauren's eyes lit up, then dimmed. He'll never give me permission. Never. Rose scoffed. Why should he do everything for you? Just unspoken permission. Tell him. Then do what you want, regardless of his answer. Tell him he loves you enough to let you do this, that it has nothing to do with love, that you only love him. This was the snake in their garden, whispering poison. Travis was jolted awake by a car pulling up. 3 a.m. He glanced at the Woodford Reserve, half the bottle gone. Great evening, I take it? He quipped, his voice dripping with sarcasm, as Lauren sauntered through the door. He studied her, disheveled hair, smudged makeup, rumpled clothes, the complete cliché. And not a hint of remorse, just smugness. I could say the same for you, she hissed. You didn't have to wait up. Oh, I'm going to sleep, all right, Travis shot back, his voice low and dangerous. But never again in this life with you. Lauren glared at him with disgust and stormed upstairs. Travis poured 3 more fingers of bourbon and retreated to ESPN. He spent the rest of the night half-slumped in his folding chair, gut churning. Around 9 a.m., he finally got up and made breakfast. Then he heard the shower upstairs. Normally, she'd come down in her robe. Not this morning. An hour later, she appeared, perfectly coiffed, dressed, and made up. Impeccable, as always. Did you happen to leave me something to eat? She asked. I made coffee, he replied flatly. Cook your own food. And since you're all dressed up, I think now's the time we talk. Lauren was taken aback. Travis's voice was devoid of emotion. She'd expected him to be foaming at the mouth, irrational, easy to manipulate. Rational Travis? This was going to be much harder. Don't you want to know about last night? She asked, a smirk playing on her lips, a clear note of superiority in her voice. Did she really think he wanted to hear about being cuckolded? Hardly, Travis responded, his voice as level as hers. I want to know how you envision our marriage moving forward. As I said yesterday, Lauren began, buttering her toast with dispassionate precision, a gesture Travis found chillingly out of place for such a conversation. I intend to try several other men over the next few years. Just for sex, no love. I love you, but I want to experience other men while I still have my looks and my body. I gave you everything for 23 years, never once thought of betrayal. Now I want the thrill of something unfamiliar. You're wonderful in bed, but I crave variety. A few years of experience, then we'll ride off into the sunset together. I'll be so grateful to you for this experience, and will spoil you exclusively for the rest of our lives. So many questions clawed at Travis. Is it just for variety? He rasped, his voice raw. Am I not enough for you? She started to speak, but he cut her off. So, you want an open marriage for a few years, then back to monogamy? Does that mean I can date others too? Lauren tried, and failed, to suppress a giggle. The thought of sweet, quiet Travis dating was apparently hilarious. He was the most serious, monogamous man she knew. But if it took this to get his agreement, she'd play along. Yes, of course, she answered. And I assume for you, it would also be just physical. Travis raised an eyebrow, shrugging slightly. Lauren couldn't read him, but she had an idea. So, would you like to go on a date with Rose? My very nice colleague from the office? I'm sure she'd be thrilled. Lauren knew Rose would jump at the chance to help her friend secure her goal. Travis was stunned. The 21-year-old bachelor in him might have, but the 47-year-old married man knew he couldn't. I'd love a date with Rose, baby, he said, his voice hardening. But no, thank you. That will make me as much a traitor as you were last night. Lauren's smile vanished, twisting into a furious grimace. I am not a traitor, she screamed. If you insist on calling it that, baby, he said far more seriously than she expected. Then fine. But I still don't agree to this. And I won't. She snorted. Well, come to your senses, baby, because I will do this, whether you agree or not. Monday morning, Rose found Lauren fuming in her office. To hell with that bigot and the horse he rode in on, Lauren hissed, slamming the door. He even refused to date you. Rose frowned. I didn't realize I was on the menu, but honestly, how could he refuse this? She said, caressing her own body. So, the date? Was it good, or did Travis ruin everything? Lauren's eyes lit up. It was fantastic. Jonas really knows how to make a woman feel good. God, it's been so long since I felt another man. I love the difference. Who should I try next? They both laughed. Lauren was emboldened that divorce papers hadn't landed yet. Since Travis and she barely spoke, she decided not to ask about his plans at all. Travis, secretly, didn't want to rush a divorce. He desperately hoped she'd come to her senses, abandon this foolish cuckolding plan. He believed he could forgive her if she just stopped. His hopes flickered when she didn't go out the following week, though he still slept on the couch, and their communication remained frozen. But the next Friday evening, Lauren was once again dressed to kill, clearly ready for another date. Are you seriously doing this again? Travis asked, his voice sharp. Same guy, or are you moving on to someone new this week? Damn it, Trav, didn't you hear me? She snapped. This isn't about you. It's about me, and wanting to experience things before I'm too old to attract anyone. It's not that I want you less, I just want more and different. People constantly hit on me. I just want to enjoy it. I'll always come back to you. What if I don't want you to come back to me? Travis roared, his voice trembling with fury. I won't share you. I won't sit idly by while you have your fun. I'm not built for this. I won't wait around while you try half the male population of this city. The first date? I was numb. Maybe I could have survived it, written it off as extreme stupidity. But twice? That's extreme disrespect. Extreme betrayal. Stay out all night, party all night, we're done. This isn't why I was put on this earth. WWWW. She mocked, wiggling her fingers dismissively. You don't want to lose me. It doesn't have to be an either-or situation, he replied, his voice chillingly calm. The previous week, Travis had already instructed his lawyer to prepare all the divorce documents, praying he wouldn't need them. Now, he planned to call her lawyer Monday morning. But first, he had to tell his daughters. Neither Jackie, 21, nor Michelle, 19, seemed to believe him at first. But talking to them, he realized Jackie, the eldest, might have known something. So you knew she was going to do this and you didn't tell me? He shouted into the phone, his frustration boiling over. You don't think I deserve to know? Please, Daddy, I was in such a hard place, Jackie pleaded. One of you would be mad at me no matter what. Besides, it's her body. It doesn't belong to you. And if she wants to share it... Stop! Travis yelled, cutting her off. I get she put you in the middle. But don't you dare tell me she can do whatever she wants just because it's her body. We took vows. Those vows override any talk about her body. There was a brief silence on the other end. I understand, Daddy, she whispered, then broke. Damn, baby. I'm sorry, Daddy. The heartbreak in his daughter's voice nearly broke him. Lauren walked through the door at 2 a.m. Travis was nowhere. Even though she was back an hour earlier than her last escapade, she looked a little more rough. Gabriel Esposito, her date, was a physically powerful man. Perhaps the strongest she'd ever been with. She was sore, likely bruised from his grip. But it had been a great night. She definitely wanted Gabriel again. Then came Monday morning. Lauren was at her office when the divorce papers were served. In front of everyone. She was shocked. Embarrassed. She burst into tears and fled to the ladies' room. Rose followed, finding her a few minutes later. You should have known he'd pull something like this, Rose said, trying to comfort her. You hurt him, honey. This is his petty way of hurting you back. An eye for an eye. Men are such children. He's trying to strong-arm you. He won't throw away 23 years and half his assets. Give him a week alone, he'll come crawling back. Lauren pulled herself together, marched back to her desk, and immediately dialed Travis. How could you do this to me in the office? In front of everyone? She screamed into the phone. I know you're hurting, but I deserve better, Trav. After 23 years, don't I deserve something better than you unilaterally deciding to open our marriage? Travis cut her off, his voice ice cold. If I wasn't right for you, couldn't you have just warned me? We could have parted ways like civilized people. Lauren wailed. I don't want civility. I don't want a divorce. I still love you. You still love me. I still love you. Travis growled. But every time you spend a night with someone else, that love diminishes. My love isn't a bottomless well like yours. I always thought it was. Who knows? Maybe we were both wrong. Lauren decided to fight the divorce, and her lawyer managed to get them into marriage counseling. Travis was dead set against it, but Lauren was beaming as they entered the counselor's office. Travis, on the other hand, just frowned. They found Lillian Kamek, the counselor, already seated. Now, statistics show most marriage counselors try to reconcile couples, and female counselors often lean towards women. Kamek began, surprising them both with her bluntness. But let's correct some errors. Mrs. Wesley, let's start with the simplest thing. Did you really tell your husband that you intended to date other men for a few years? Travis fought hard to hide his smirk. Lauren, blindsided, tried desperately to hide her shock. She almost lied, but realized she had no believable story ready. Yes. Yes, I told him, she admitted quietly. That's what I want. It won't affect our marriage. I don't need him to do anything for me. Kamek's expression hardened. Well, I think we're done here, she said, pushing back her chair. Sorry to waste your time, Mrs. Wesley. I'll inform the judge to end this farce. But, Lauren stammered, aghast. Honey, Kamek cut her off. If you thought for 1 minute that what you did to your husband would fly with me, you are utterly delusional. You should be ashamed, but clearly, you don't have an ounce of shame. Frankly, you disgust me. For the next month, as Travis settled into a small apartment near their old home, Lauren bombarded him with calls and texts. He ignored every single one. So, she turned to their daughters. Michelle called several times. Dad, you know you still love her. If she stopped dating other men, would you give her another chance? Michelle asked during one of these calls. So, she's still doing this? Even after I served the papers? Travis asked in a trembling voice. Michelle's silence was all the answer he needed. She didn't call again about it. Travis was surprised how fast news of his divorce spread, especially among single women. Colleagues, mutual friends, everyone offered condolences. He wasn't naive. Some of these condolences felt less than altruistic. Then Connie Mung, a longtime friend of Lauren's, called. She genuinely expressed her regrets, then, almost directly, offered a shoulder to cry on, and clearly, she meant more than just a shoulder. Travis was floored. Lauren's close friend, hitting on him? Connie, a divorced Asian beauty, 5 feet tall with waist-length black hair, confessed. I would never pursue a friend's husband. That's just wrong. But now that you're a free man, the rules are different. I'm telling you, I'm interested. Travis, still reeling, replied, I'm flattered, Connie, but I'm not a free man yet. I won't date until the divorce is final. Call me stupid, but I won't cheat. You're such a Boy Scout, Trav. She chuckled. It's one of the things I always liked about you. But promise me a date when you're free? Of course, he said. But I don't want to come between you and Lauren. You've been friends for years. I appreciate your sensitivity, but just because she's stupid doesn't mean I should miss out on a good man. Connie shot back. I wouldn't think twice if you were just some guy I met off the street. Maybe I'll call you when I take off the leash. Travis joked, and she laughed. Travis kept his word. The day his divorce was final, he called Connie. Their first date, a fancy restaurant, followed by a Philharmonic concert, tickets courtesy of Mara, another woman he'd meet later. The night ended with a tender kiss at her doorstep. Their second was a challenging hike, where Connie, a seasoned hiker, playfully teased a clearly winded Travis. He discovered her toned body and mesmerizing gray eyes. That evening, they made tender love on her living room rug after a steamy make-out session on the sofa. She intrigued him with her blend of sophisticated class and down-to-earth charm. Mara happily agreed to a third date, a sightseeing weekend in Chicago. On their first date, Mara had told him she wouldn't tell Lauren they were dating, but wouldn't deny it if asked. Lauren, for her part, had told colleagues the divorce was due to irreconcilable differences. Travis had told Mara the same truth he told everyone else. Lauren had cheated with at least 2 different men. He didn't need to elaborate further. In the 2 years since his divorce, Travis had built several strong relationships, enjoying what he considered an amazing intimate life. All his partners thought highly of him, and some of them even hoped to be considered for a long-term future. Removing his wedding ring, something he hadn't given much thought to, was apparently a huge deal to single women. The empty space on his finger was immediately noticed, and suddenly, the flirting at work ramped up significantly. It was all new to him. Over lunch with his best friend, Robert, Travis mused. There are so many beautiful women in this office. How did I never notice before? Robert scoffed. My friend, you were a henpecked, deeply in love man. You didn't even see other women as sexual beings. Lauren might be beautiful, but you let her carry your courage in her purse. And maybe that was the problem. She needed to be tested. To feel her value. And you were so conditioned, so closed off, that not a single woman even looked your way for a month after the divorce. But that quickly changed. In the first month after his divorce, Travis went on 4 dates, 2 with Connie. He hadn't slept with any yet, that wasn't his goal. But in the second month, he was just as sought after, and he slept with 2 women. Meanwhile, his daughters, who'd been spending more time with their mom, kept hearing Lauren's boasts. I can have any man with a snap of my fingers, but your dad? He's a middle-aged, ordinary man. He'll struggle to even find a date, let alone a permanent girlfriend. The girls started feeling sorry for their dad. So 2 months after the divorce, they showed up at his apartment unannounced one Saturday morning at 8:36 a.m. Travis, who'd been entertaining a companion late the night before, opened the door in his robe. What? He grumbled, facing his smiling daughters, loaded with bagels and salmon. Hello, Daddy. Can your 2 beloved daughters come in for breakfast? Jackie chirped. He kissed them, led them to the kitchen. They were just unpacking when Sonia, a stunning 25-year-old, emerged from his bedroom in his half-buttoned white shirt, likely nothing else. Sorry, baby, I didn't know you were expecting guests, Sonia said, giggling. Mom said you were your own boss. No, Sonia, Travis corrected, gesturing. These are my daughters, Jackie and Michelle. We're having a bagel breakfast. Sonia giggled again, her chest jiggling. She brushed her thigh against Travis's arm and settled into the chair beside him. They made small talk for a while until Jackie asked if Travis had spoken to Lauren. He frowned for the first time that day. It was almost impossible to be upset around Sonia, even if she was a little intense for his 48-year-old body. Dad, we thought you'd be missing Mom by now, Michelle said. We know she misses you, but we thought when you left, she'd be living her life to the fullest. We know she was an anchor for you. Even though she was hooking up with others, in our old bed, Dad, Jackie blurted out. Sonia giggled, Michelle frowned. She's not a lecher, you know, Jackie tried to defend. Really? Sonia cut in. Think about it. How many different guys has she slept with since you broke up? Plus the ones before you left? Both girls blushed and looked down. Wow. If it's 2 guys a month for 10 months, that's 20. 3 guys a month? That's 30. That's a lot of guys, Sonia stated. If looks could kill, Travis's daughters would have put Sonia 6 feet under. She knew it. Hey, don't blame me if a woman can't keep her legs closed, Sonia quipped. Kids, let's not ruin my good weekend, Travis interjected. Sorry, all 3 muttered simultaneously. So you 2 are a couple? Jackie asked Sonia quietly. You don't look older than me. Dad says we're the same age. Sonia smiled. Don't worry, I'm not becoming your stepmom. We're just friends. He's a great guy. He was my date to a wedding reception last night, and he's kinda hot. Did I mention he's a great guy? We'll agree he's a great guy, though he can be a jerk sometimes, Jackie conceded. And yeah, he's kinda hot for a guy old enough to be your dad. Now it was Sonia's turn to blush. Travis, too. Hey, baby, Sonia then said. Remember we have lunch with the newlyweds' families at noon? I need to shower and grab clothes from my place. His daughters rolled their eyes at their dad. A few weeks later, over lunch, Jackie told Lauren. Mom, she's my age. And it wasn't a one-off. They've been spending a lot of time together. They genuinely enjoy each other's company. I don't think he's crawling back to you anytime soon. Lauren dismissed it. No, you just caught him on a lucky day. He was probably helping a friend's kid. She's probably just some loose girl who sleeps with anyone. Your dad's a great guy, but he's no stud, Jackie. Jackie raised her eyebrows. You always seemed pleased with him until you told him you were going to leave him. Why didn't you just cheat without telling him? Wouldn't that be easier? Have your cake and eat it too? That would be cheating, Jackie, Lauren retorted. And if he caught me, we'd break up. By telling him, I didn't cheat, and I was sure he'd give me what I wanted when he realized what he'd lose. I admit, I didn't expect a divorce. I never thought he'd have the guts. Mom, Jackie said gently, I think you mistook love for weakness. Somewhere along the way, you decided everything revolved around you. Was it worth it? For the first time, the stress of her choices showed on Lauren's face. Rose's advice had sounded so much better than reality. She couldn't tell her daughter that the sex was just normal, that no, it hadn't been worth it. She couldn't admit she'd expected Travis to just sit home and pine for his beautiful ex-wife. She was so utterly self-absorbed she had no concept that a handsome, intelligent man with great character and a solid job could be incredibly attractive in the singles market, not just to middle-aged women. She knew Travis was dating, even her old friend Connie, and now some young woman the same age as her eldest daughter. Instead of mourning, he was dating like a man in his 20s, getting more attention than she thought he deserved. When she first found out about Connie, she wrote it off as a pity date. But the second date? That was just unnecessary. She confronted Connie loudly. I thought we were friends, Connie! You should be on my side. Girls stick together. Connie looked at her calm. He didn't do anything wrong to me, Lauren. He's a good guy. Great, even. He's everything I want in a man. Why wouldn't I date Trav? Women are lining up for him. He's prime, aged beef, girl, and he's a gentleman, and great in bed, too. I'll go on a date with him any time he asks. How could you drive such a man away? Lauren stared at her, mouth agape. She was finally realizing the catastrophic scale of her mistake. She loved Travis. She hated coming back to an empty house. She hated sleeping alone. Lauren, on the other hand, was still just looking for satisfaction. While her looks could still attract men, she wasn't seeking emotional connection like Travis's partners. This fundamental difference would cause an issue with Jackie. As Jackie and her mother were knee-deep in wedding preparations, which Travis was happily funding, Lauren suggested both parents attend unaccompanied, to reduce tension. Jackie quickly agreed, relaying this to her father. Did this brilliant idea come from you or your mother? Travis asked sternly. I plan to bring a lady with me. I'm paying for this party, and I'm going to have a lot of fun with my date. Hell, I've been taking dance lessons for a year since you announced your engagement. You took dance lessons seriously just for my wedding? That's so cute. Jackie gushed. No buts, Jackie. Your mom apparently doesn't have anyone close enough to invite, so she's trying to pressure me. Again, she's acting like a selfish jerk, manipulating the situation. Sorry, baby, but I'm not showing up to my daughter's wedding without a date. If you don't have the guts to tell her, I certainly will. She can come alone or with her own gentleman. That's her business. I'm bringing my lady. Got it, Dad? Jackie said. I'll tell her. Your point is valid, and I really want to see you dance. But could you please bring someone older than me? Travis grinned widely. I can do that, baby, but you should really see Sonia and I dance. He brought Connie to the wedding. She looked stunning in a sea-green dress he'd bought for her. They'd even bickered about it, but Travis explained that as the father of the bride, in a tuxedo, she needed a new dress and shoes, which he was delighted to pay for. Walking his eldest daughter down the aisle was, for Travis, one of the greatest and worst experiences of his life. Every father who'd warned him was right. It was a beautiful day. He, Connie, and his children laughed and danced late into the night. The only discordant note was Lauren's arrival with her own gentleman. Not that Travis cared, but the guys spent the first half of the wedding smirking at Travis, and the second half, groping women like an obnoxious drunk, until Jackie finally asked her mother to remove him. Lauren, visibly embarrassed, apologized profusely and quickly escorted the man out, then left herself. A few months after the wedding, Michelle came to visit her father. She was fidgety, nervous. Travis, noticing, asked, Okay, Mitch, what's going on? You've been jumpy all evening. Michelle blushed deeply, stammering. Travis knew instantly something was very wrong. Dad, Mom talks about getting back together with you sometimes. About how she'll win you over once she stops sleeping with other guys. You didn't have a night or anything, did you? She asked, her voice small. My nightlife is none of your business, young lady. Travis snapped. But no, I did not sleep with your mother. Okay. Good. Michelle whispered. Dad, she has an STD? I overheard her talking to Rose. She said that she had syphilis. Travis looked from surprised to deeply saddened, Michelle watching him warily. I guess you're telling me this because you're worried about me, he said. Standard policy is to inform all potential recipients to get tested, you know. I didn't know. I was just worried about you, Dad, she insisted. I know Mom is still sleeping around. A few friends have warned me she's pretty promiscuous. It's always awkward when friends tell you your mom isn't perfect. A few days later, Mara called, clearly distressed, worried for her own health too. If you're wondering if I slept with my ex, the answer is not just no, but hell no, Travis told her. Mara, I understand your concern. But I can't help the fact that my ex is a scandal. And scandal is the nicest thing I've heard about her lately. Mara sighed. Her activities have become the subject of office gossip. It seems the longer she's single, the more she loses her guard. Lauren, it turned out, decided her STD was a wake-up call. She'd had enough men to last a lifetime. 6 months after being cured, she set her plan in motion: win Travis back. She still resented him for divorcing her. It wasn't how her plan was supposed to go. Her new plan might have worked if other women hadn't started hunting Travis. Lauren still believed she was a prize. She never expected Travis to be so attractive to others. "I know he's a great guy," she confided to Rose one day, margaritas in hand, waiting for their dates. "But can't these women see he's nowhere near my level?" Rose, who'd pushed Lauren into this lifestyle, knew Travis was handsome, but she'd grossly underestimated his inner strength, assuming he'd always be his wife's obedient shadow, moping while she had fun. Who knew he had such an inner core? Both Lauren and Rose had been keeping tabs on Travis, and his post-divorce life was, in truth, almost as intense as Lauren's. If Lauren had been truly honest, she might have admitted Travis's intimate life seemed far more emotionally fulfilling. 2 years later, Travis was utterly surprised to hear his ex-wife's voice on the phone. He hadn't spoken to her directly since the divorce. One of the girls must have given her his new number. "Hi, Trav," she purred, that old sweet tone. "I think it's time we talk." "I thought we weren't going to talk until Michelle got married," Travis countered, his voice flat. "Since that hasn't happened yet, maybe we should return to silence." "Still the same, Travis," she sighed. "Still trying to deny you love me. But you know what? You do love me. You know you want me back." "Still the same, Lauren," Travis replied, a chilling finality in his voice. "Still thinking everything revolves around you. Look, I know you think I'm still mad, but I truly loved you. You probably should have just cheated and kept me in the dark, but that would have been cheating." "It was still cheating, Lauren," Travis cut in. "Just because you told me you were going to do it doesn't make it any less real. You did it because you thought I would never give up on you. Did you really think I was that pathetic, Lauren? I know you think you're a 10, hell, a 12, but more than that, you're just gorgeous. But I don't have to live in your shadow anymore. The last few years have shown me that. I'm not just the husband of a beautiful woman. Other women want what I have to offer, and they're willing to give me emotional connection in return. My last few years have been absolutely wonderful. Why would I ever want to date a selfish woman again who clearly doesn't respect me, and no matter what she says, doesn't love me the way I loved her?" Past tense. He hung up the phone, a weight lifting from his shoulders. He turned to Sonia, who was still there. "Ready for round 2? Sonia eventually found her own soulmate and married him. But Connie and Mara? They stayed. Travis loved them both, in his own way, and never married again. They loved him too, each in their own unique way, and both women embraced this unconventional relationship. Years later, both Connie and Mara were invited to Michelle's wedding. Lauren, who arrived without a date, was furious. She complained bitterly to Michelle. But Michelle was unwavering. "After me, Jackie and her family, Connie and Mara are the closest people to Dad in the world," Michelle told her mother. "They love Dad for who he is, and they put him above their own selfish interests, something not everyone can say. He was yours, Mom. And you left him for more sex. Why? Because you were scared of getting old, and you thought he had no other options. You thought he'd never give up on you, no matter what." Travis, looking back, was genuinely happy with his life. It wasn't his first choice, no. But he'd walked away from an unacceptable situation and found something beautiful. Lauren's life wasn't one of total loneliness, though. She was still a stunning woman, and beautiful women rarely want for attention. She had many short-term relationships, but none ever developed into anything lasting. Looking back, Lauren had to admit she regretted telling Travis she was going to sleep with other men. But only because she still couldn't fathom how Travis had given up on her so easily. How had she miscalculated so badly? It was a question that haunted her, echoing in the silence of her empty bed. So, there you have it. A man pushed to his breaking point, who found his strength, and a woman who learned a harsh lesson about taking love for granted. What would you have done in Travis's shoes? Have you ever had someone you love assume you'd just suck it up and accept their selfish demands? Tell me what you think in the comments below. I really want to hear your perspective.